Welcome to Catalyze, the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
3 essential tools for radical personal growth. When we were little, it was natural for us to ask lots of questions. A common question we all would ask was, why? I was in the store recently and there was this little boy in the aisle with his mom, and I heard him ask her, why did that lady say, "Excuse me"? His mom answered, and I giggled. And then the little boy looked up at me and said, "Why did you laugh? That wasn't funny." So I explained to him that what I thought he said was very cute. And it's good to be curious and ask questions. At one point in our lives, we stop asking questions and we start drawing conclusions and making assumptions. And some of those assumptions are more hurtful rather than helpful. At one point, we start to question ourselves and we forget that we were born to shine. Can you remember a time when you made an assumption that might have been hurtful to you and caused you to dim your light? That assumption for me happened in the 3rd grade. It was on the playground during recess. My family and I had just moved to a new town, and I was in this new school, and I wanted so badly to make friends. And that day, I wanted to get in on the jump rope game. And I kept asking when it was my turn, and nobody was answering me until finally this girl said, "What don't you get? We don't want to play with you." The assumption I made is that I don't fit in. And then I started to look for evidence. And you know the saying, seek and ye shall find? I found plenty of evidence all throughout the rest of elementary school, middle school, high school, and way beyond. It was like a seed was planted and it took root. And it can stop us from going after the things that we want in life and achieving our full potential. But the good news is that you don't have to continue telling this story for the next 30 years. Once you have the awareness, you can choose to stop it. Have you ever stopped watching a series that you were into on Netflix because you just weren't enjoying it anymore? Well, you can do the same thing with the stories in your mind, and you can create a whole new series that you love. So the tools that you're going to learn today are going to help you to reclaim your sovereignty, to learn how to pivot and get back on track with the goals that you have, and to design your future. Create it and design it by your own design rather than by default. Dr. Joe Dispenza said that the familiar past will sooner or later become your predictable future. So if you're not liking the results that you're getting in your life or even in your business, it's time to update that old operating system. And I'm going to show you how. So let's dive in. The first tool that I want to share with you is going to help you to calm down your nervous system. It's going to help you to reduce stress, improve your mental focus, and to change your vibrational point of attraction so that you can start attracting the things that you want. Now, the tool is something we all possess already, and that is breathing. Not just the breathing that you might be doing now. I'm talking about purposeful, mindful breaths. Neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor says that it takes just 90 seconds to process an emotion. So, what that means is if, let's say, you're feeling the emotion of anger for longer than a minute and a half, it simply means that you're stuck in the story, or maybe you're replaying the situation over and over again. Instead, you can allow the emotion to be there, invite it in like a friend, and just breathe through it. Deep, purposeful breaths. And I'm going to share two different breathing techniques that I enjoy doing and teaching clients. And first, I want to share the power of this tool. A client of mine was going through a divorce, and her husband's girlfriend texted her this long message that was very accusatory. After reading the first sentence, my client put the phone down, walked away, and did her mindful breathing. She came back just minutes later, read the remainder of the text, and chose not to respond. And she said, had I not done my breathing, I would have responded right back and then forwarded the message to my husband, which wouldn't have done any good. So that's the power of using this simple yet effective tool. The one type of breathing I like to do is called four square breathing or box breathing. And they actually have taught this in the military to help the soldiers to calm down their nervous system. And all you do, it's a 16 count breath, is you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold your breath at the top for a count of 4, and then you exhale for a count of 4, and you hold the breath at the bottom for a count of 4. And you just take a few of those breaths. By counting, you can distract your mind from the thoughts that you might be thinking. Another breathing technique is called 7-11 breathing. And you breathe in for a count of 7, and you exhale for a count of 11. And that longer exhale engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms down the body, and you start to feel that sense of peace. Now, whether you prefer the four square breathing or the 7-11 breathing, you can also do something called the peace process, which is while you are breathing, you ask yourself, if this emotion were a color, what color would it be? And notice the color that pops into your mind. If this emotion were a shape, what shape would it be? Is it square? Is it round? Is it jagged edges? Where in the body is it landing? Do I feel it in my chest, my stomach, my feet? And what size is it? Is it large? Is it the size of a tennis ball? So as you're noticing and just being an observer, the color, the shape, the size, the location, you're continuing to breathe through it. And you're going to notice very quickly that the emotion is going to start to dissipate. And you're going to feel relaxed. And now you've got some mental clarity. So you could see the situation different and you can be more resourceful. So that's the power of breathing, to clear your mind, to reset, and to show up as your best, most empowered self. Now we're going to move into the second tool. This tool can help obstacles just melt away. It can also open up your perspective and change the way you see situations. You can spot solutions that you might not have seen before. And you can also tap into your full potential. If you want to get out of your own way, you're going to want to use this tool. And that tool is reframing. It's the art of seeing the other side of things. Reframing also helps to separate intention from behavior. And this is really helpful when trying to understand other people in your life and having more patience and compassion with them. So reframing helps you to improve all relationships with yourself, with others, with time, with money. We're in a relationship with everyone. Steve Chandler, he's an author of The Prosperous Coach. He says to be the owner of your mind. As the owner, you don't have to let other people and situations rent space in your head. You have the power to evict them. So know that you can choose to be the owner of your mind. The thing is, people are going to talk through their own paradigms and beliefs. And it's our job to stop and question everything that we're told and decide what is going to be true for you, what's going to be possible in your world. So I'm going to share two different types of reframes. The first type I want to share is a context reframe. And that's where you change the context, the place, the situation, and you ask yourself, what's another context where this behavior, I would see it differently? And an example is a bathing suit. It's appropriate to wear a bathing suit on a beach. But now take that person wearing a bathing suit and put them in the context of a business meeting inside of an office in person. Suddenly, that behavior is no longer appropriate. So let's apply that to something more tangible and related to you. A client I was working with, was saying to me, "I'm not a salesperson." Now, that belief is not really helpful for someone who's a business owner. So we started to poke some holes in this story. And I asked this person, how many times have you sold your spouse on doing something that you wanted to do? And she realized, all the time. Okay, so let's reframe, I'm not a salesperson. And she reframed it to, I'm masterful at selling ideas I believe in. I do it all the time with my husband. In fact, I've been doing it since I was a little kid, selling my parents on buying me things that I wanted. So now what happens is you start to have a different feeling in your body about sales. And that's going to change the actions that you take and the results that you get. So that's the power of context reframing. The second reframe that I want to share with you is a meaning reframe. And that's where you change the meaning. What else could this mean? Now, an example is somebody could have a fear of public speaking, common fear. In fact, I hear it's one of the biggest fears that people have is speaking in public. So a reframe could be, is it nervousness? Is it fear? Or could it be excitement? Could that feeling mean that you're excited? Because excitement and fear tend to feel the same way in the body. And then you can go a little deeper and you can ask questions of, is this really true? Do you speak in restaurants? Well, restaurants are public. So could it be that you feel comfortable speaking in public in front of people? How about speaking on the beach where somebody else is listening in on your conversation? You feel comfortable then. So this starts to poke holes in people's stories and they start to feel more empowered, and it can help them change what they're believing. So that is the power of reframing. It's a tool that you can always use, and it goes back to question everything. If you don't like how you feel inside, stop and breathe and ask questions until you start to feel better. The third tool that I want to share with you is, before I tell you what it is, this tool will help you to gain clarity. It will help you to feel confident, and it will help you to feel motivated and make empowered decisions that are going to move you forward. I want to share a quick tidbit about Admiral McRaven. In his speech, Make Your Bed, he talked about the Navy SEALs that would have to perform these underwater experiments. And when they would dive into the water and have to get to the keel of the ship, it was very dark and very loud. And it was easy for them to get disoriented and panic and fail the mission. And what the SEALs learned in time is that they had to remain calm and composed in order to successfully complete the mission. Admiral McRaven says, you must be your very best, even in the darkest moments. This tool, the calm method, was born out of a dark moment. I was all set to do a money mindset training for a jewelry company. And 2 days before the workshop, the woman who hired me called me up and said, this is no longer appropriate. It was March 2020, and the world had just shut down. She said, can you please just do something to help these women? Everybody is in a panic. So I said, absolutely. I hung up the phone and I panicked just a little. And then I decided to practice what I preach. And I said, I'm going to sleep on this. And when I wake up, I will have an inspired idea. And I woke up the next morning. I did something I never do. I popped up from my pillow and I saw the word calm, CALM. Each letter stood for a step, for how to go from the chaos in your mind to clarity and confidence. So you know what you're going to do and you take that action. So the C in calm is conscious, conscious of how you feel. The A is aware, aware of the thoughts that you're thinking that are triggering this emotion, and then pretending you're a lawyer and putting them on trial and asking, are these facts? Or could it be my belief, my opinion, my attitude, my own interpretation, or my story? Most times it's not a fact. You could poke some holes in the story and the story starts to wobble a little bit. And then you can move into step 3, which is the L, lean into what else is possible. So if these thoughts are not true, what else might be true? What's another option? And that's where you do the reframing. And then in step 4M, make a new decision. Now that you feel better and you're focused on what you want, what's the decision you're going to make? And then take immediate action before you talk yourself out of it. That's really important, to take that action when it feels good and to do it right away. We have a tendency to start to question, is that really a good idea? And then we can just stay where we are. So I'm going to give an example of a client who we will call Samantha. Samantha started a financial planning practice. And she was feeling like she was being a bother, asking people to get on the phone with her to help them plan with their money, their future of their money. So C, she was conscious that she was feeling worried and she was feeling resistance to calling. The A is aware of what are the thoughts, what was she telling herself that was causing that worry? She was telling herself, I don't want to bother people, or I don't want to be a bother. And then she said, I don't want to be the pariah on the playground. When I go to pick up my kids, I'm asking other parents to get on a call with me to talk about your money. So this is the story she was telling herself. She admitted that they were not facts. Those thoughts were her own worries and beliefs and interpretations. So we leaned into what else is possible. What's another option? And she said, well, it's important to me to help people and to support people. So she said, when I start these conversations, I'm being helpful. And she started to feel a little bit better. And then she said, I'm a natural born nurturer. She was is the mom of 3 kids. So she said, I'm nurturing as I'm helping people and I'm educating them on stuff that they need to learn to improve their lives. So M, her new empowering decision, make a new decision. Her decision was, I'm a natural born nurturer, and nurturing is the new prospecting. So now prospecting had a positive, warm feeling because she reframed it to be that way. And she started making that her focus, and she met her goal that month of getting 7 new clients. So this is the power of utilizing these tools. And I will recap the tools because they all go together. They work together. Number 1, breathing. Really every day, just take a few moments to take some mindful breaths, 4-square breathing, 7-11 breathing. There's so many different types of breathing techniques that you can use to reset, calm down your body, and change your vibrational point of attraction. It's very interesting. There's been a lot of work around emotions, specifically through Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And he says that we can become addicted to our emotions. So we can feel we can have the emotion of guilt, for example, in our body, and we don't notice it because it's been there for decades. And just because we're not conscious of it doesn't mean that it's there. And that's what you're attracting and drawing more of in your life to match that vibration of guilt in the example I just used. So make it a point to breathe for a few minutes every day just to process those emotions and start to raise your vibration. The second tool that I talked about was reframing. Ask questions. We assign a meaning to everything. And if you don't feel good inside of your body, create a new meaning because you're the owner of your mind. And the third tool was the CALM method, CALM, conscious of how you feel, aware of what you're telling yourself, those thoughts, lean into what else is possible, and make a new decision. And this is how you can start moving towards your goals more of the time. Stay focused on what you want. I want to close with this metaphor, and it comes from Ramana Maharshi. He uses the movie screen metaphor. You are the screen. You are that blank, pure screen. And the thoughts that you think, the experiences that you have, those are the images that are projected onto the screen. It's all an illusion, yet it feels like reality. When you go into a movie theater and you sit down, you see the screen in front of you until the lights dim. And then the movie comes up. You could be watching an action movie where there's fire and explosions, and you're on the edge of your seat and you have a visceral reaction in your body. Your body is, your heart is beating, you're on the edge of your seat. And then when the movie's over and the light comes back up, is the screen burned? No, it's untouched because what was on the screen was never real. So again, I invite you to question what you see and hear on the screen of your mind and turn on the light of awareness. You are the screen. Remember, it's a movie, and you can choose to get up and leave the theater. When you think something that makes you feel bad, remember it means that you are out of alignment with your true self. So stop and breathe and question what you see and hear. Ask your higher self, your soul, your spirit, whatever word you want to use. Ask yourself outcome-oriented questions that are focused on what you want. What else could this mean? And listen for the answers, because you know more than you think. You are greater than what you think. And you might be pleasantly surprised to find that you are the ticket to your own mental freedom. Thank you. I'd love to connect with you further. You can connect with me.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session of Catalyze. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.